there's currently a mosquito living in my room right now, so if I make any sudden movements or anything like that, it's because I'm trying to catch him. He's been living in my room for like days, and I think he only comes out at night because that's when I wake up with a bunch of bites and stuff like that. So that's how you know it's summer, when the mosquitoes start to come out. But anyways, welcome back to another video, guys. Today I want to talk about something very, very exciting, something that I've been working on, a long project that I've kind of had under the bus while I was making all these videos and stuff like that, because there was a steep learning curve. Today I finally want to announce the release of my first, I don't know if you can see them very well in this lighting, but my first 8x10 photo prints. And these are awesome. These took me a long time to make because I was printing them myself, and I was also trying to figure out how to use the printer and also how to kind of get the images look the way I want with different types of photo, paper, and stuff like that. So there was a lot of experimenting and stuff like that in between. So these are available for sale in my shop on my website, andrepel.com, down below. You can check them out. You can buy them if you want. You can not buy them if you don't want. I don't personally really care because this was mainly a personal project that I wanted to make, but also release for the general public and whatever. But today I essentially want to talk about the photos themselves, the prints themselves, what paper I use for each print, because I feel like that is one of the most important choices if you're thinking about printing your photos. And also kind of the story behind those photos themselves, why I think they came out so well in print and why I enjoy them so much. They are limited edition prints. I think I'm only going to make 24 of them because, like I said, it was a personal project. I don't intend to making a long release. Something you'll notice is 24 is going to be a concurrent theme in my shop or whatever, because that's the standard number for a zine, and that's also my favorite number. So we're sticking with 24 for prints. So I'll go ahead and make another video for printing and printing tips and things like that if you're thinking about starting printing your photos, because there is a steep learning curve. It is not like Control P like you might think it is. It would be nice if it was just Control P and your picture came out perfect, exactly how you wanted it, but there's a lot of fine tuning, a lot of money wasted, and a lot of, fine tuning. So let's get into it. This right here is the very first photo print. I'm releasing, you might recognize this picture because I made this in one of my episodes of Exploring Long Beach. Ironically, I took this picture when the camera wasn't rolling. I took it with the X-T4, not that it matters, but it's funny because your best pictures are going to be the ones that you're not recording yourself taking a photo of. But you got to do what you got to do to make quote unquote content versus photography, you know what I mean? But this one I'm very, very proud of because that day I was trying to photograph this pyramid that's in Long Beach. Long Beach is my hometown, and I'm trying to work on this kind of longer form zine of Long Beach. But this was one of the pictures I took. I wanted to frame it in a unique way that kind of looks cool, but also kind of gets the feeling of, I don't know, whatever feeling I was feeling that day, I guess. So there were these cherry blossoms that had just bloomed because it was spring, and luckily the school has like a few of these trees out and about. So I shot through the cherry blossoms, I got the pyramid, and I think this picture looks utterly fantastic. I was so proud of it because sometimes photos look better in the digital space than they do on print. And sometimes photos look better in print than they do in the digital space. And this was one of the ones that I feel like came out looking better on print than it does in digital space. It's hard to put it in words, obviously, unless you see the picture itself. But printing is one of those formats, one of those mediums that a lot of people are saying you're not fully done with a picture until you print it. And I kind of half believe that. It makes sense to me. I do feel like after you've gone through the whole digital editing process and you've gotten around to printing your pictures, you have to be very selective with the process of which photo you're going to print, which photo you're not going to print. And I think that is a very interesting way of looking at your own photography because it really whittles out the good photos and the bad photos. So this photo became a really, really good photo in my opinion. Now let's go ahead and talk about the paper I used. What I used was a fine art paper. I believe it was Hahnemuhl's 308 or something like that, Photo Rag Baryta. This is one of the best photo papers I've used for several different reasons. So when you start printing, you start getting into printing, you start understanding printing, you realize it has less to do with the printer because printers in the modern era have gotten to a certain level of standard where pretty much most printers are going to be able to get a high quality print. What's different is the paper you're using because that is what the ink is actually being laid down upon. So that is a very, very important part of the process. You got to choose the right paper for the right photo. So this paper is highly rated fine art paper, and I wanted to see kind of what the buzz was about. So I went ahead and printed on this photo rag Barita, and I was completely happy with how it came out for this photo specifically. If you can't tell, the colors in this image is actually, they're very flat. A lot of the blues, a lot of the greens, a lot of the pinks are really, really flat. And so it came for kind of a low contrast, kind of faded image. And that's kind of how I wanted it to look in the first place. So I kind of tried printing on matte paper, but it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. Ironically, this photo rag Barita it's a high gloss paper, but it produces kind of a flat image. Honestly, it looks a little more like a luster paper, just kind of the texture and the glow in the lighting. So that's why I was really surprised with it, because I thought it was going to be a high gloss paper, but it kind of evened out and looked really, really well with an image that I thought would look better on matte paper, if that makes any sense. So I used this paper. I believe it's 308 GSM, meaning it's really, really thick. It holds better, I guess. I think the thicker the paper is, the nicer the finish, and it just looks really nice. Something you'll also notice is if you zoom in on the texture and stuff like that, it's not particularly like a high lustery, glossy texture. It's kind of more of like I said, like a faded, almost like a matte texture, and I think it really, really works with this image. Yeah. This looks nice. Next one we're going to talk about is this one. This is my second photo print, and for most of you guys this will probably look more visually stimulating. The colors are extremely vibrant in this one, and I think the composition kind of speaks for itself about what's happening, how it's being split, etc., etc. And I want to get into kind of the story behind this, and as well as the photo paper choice I made for this one. If you don't recognize this photo, this was from one of my videos, one of the photos I took when I was on my San Francisco trip. So I was coming down around Fort Funston, we were heading back to the car, and it was an extremely windy day and a very, very bright kind of sunlight day. And there were a lot of paragliders out because we were kind of on the bluffs of San Francisco. And so I was looking up in the sky, and one of the paragliders was kind of gliding across, and I only had like 1 or 2 shots to kind of get this shot. So I missed the first one, and the second one I nailed, getting him in this composition with the highlights and the shadows contrasting in the way they did. It picked for like a perfect picture in my eyes. Not only because of, like I said, the contrast, but how the highlight kind of splits the middle. So it looks like he's following like a path of like a descent. It just melds really, really well. So I'm happy, extremely happy with the composition, but I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to get it to come out perfectly in print, because like I said, not every photo that comes out well digitally comes out well on print. But this was one of the pictures that actually ended up working out really, really well. The paper I used was a luster paper. So I initially tried Canon Pro's luster paper to see if it would work. And I really, really liked the texture and how it came out on that one. But I had one really big problem, was that the paper wasn't thick enough. It was like a 250 GSM or something like that. So I wanted to use something thicker, but also that kept the same kind of texture and look that this paper had. So I started hunting for other luster papers, and I found one made by Canson. It was like a 315 GSM. It was I forget the actual name. I'll put it down in description or whatever. It doesn't really matter because the whole technical qualities of these papers don't matter as long as it gets the print that you want it to get. But it was able to get me the same kind of texture of the other luster paper while also making it a thicker paper, because the thicker paper I feel like has a better premium quality feel to the prints, and it also looks nicer and feels nicer, especially when you're holding it out. So I was able to achieve that with that paper, and the colors just look so nice. So before anyone asks, no, these colors are not natural. The blue for the most part is pretty natural. I kind of enhanced it. The purple and the pink, that was me kind of playing with the editing, trying to get the colors to look like how I felt the paraglider in this image would be feeling. So I think the blue and purple contrast really brings that out, in my opinion. And overall, it just looks really, really nice. The original photo looks really good as well. It's just I felt like this edit had to be taken into a different direction. I had to spice things up a little bit, you know what I mean? And so I'm extremely, utterly happy with this print as well. So yeah, anyways, those are the 2 prints. These are my 2 very, very first 8x10 prints. So I'm extremely excited about it. I'm going to be printing a lot more just because I enjoy the process, the feeling, and also it's cool to see your photos on print. So I think that is kind of the direction I want to take this channel in, mainly because I feel like photography should be in kind of a photography should be seen through a print medium in the first place anyways. I think a lot of the photography that exists nowadays is in the online format, and that's not particularly where it should be, mainly because you can't really get the exact feeling, the right feeling, seeing a picture through a digital screen than you do when you're holding it in your hand. It's just different. And I hear a lot of people saying it, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I really do understand what they're meaning. When I started seeing my own pictures in print, it really makes a world of difference. So yeah, you can pick these prints up in my shop down below if you are interested. I plan to make a lot more prints and images and zines in general, just because I feel like I want to tell more stories rather than just put content out on YouTube, you know what I mean? So these will be running in limited short edition prints. I'll be making more videos on how I print, how I mail, etc., etc. Just because if you guys are interested in printing yourselves, you can maybe learn some things, learn from my mistakes as well. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you found this interesting. If you have any questions, leave them down below and let me know what you guys think of these prints. Happy day, because I'm excited to share these with you. I've been working on these for months, and yeah, thanks for watching this video. I will see you in another video. Peace.